Hi, you don't know me. I'm just an egg-looking fella that likes to play video games. But here's a twist. Last year, I became a father. God damn! It's the best thing in the world. Honestly, genuinely gives my life meaning. But the little free time I did have has seemingly just disappeared. Now, I would expect there's a lot of gamers out there in the big wide world that are either due to become parents, are parents to little ones themselves, or have been a parent for a long time now. So they're probably concerned about where they get their gaming time, how they complete games on their backlog, where they get the time to play new games. So I thought I'd share sort of my thoughts on how I've managed to play a game while also looking after a newborn baby. So here I am, making a few videos on explaining my time, trying to play games, as well as diving into those games and breaking down what is time friendly, why it might be good to play it as a parent, why it might be good to avoid it as a parent, and just give my thoughts and opinions on them. So yeah, here goes nothing, I suppose. This is my opinion on what it's like to play Cyberpunk 2077, but as a dad. Alright, so first things first. Let me get this out of the way. I really enjoyed my time with Cyberpunk 2077. There's a lot of things I did like about it. The gameplay, the RPG mechanics, the sort of immersive simminess of the levels, any missions you get to go on. However, I did find it to fall flat, especially towards the end. This is where it sort of gets confusing on, am I disappointed with it as the game was overall, or am I disappointed because I played it in a very limited time and space whilst not having a lot of free time and sort of wondering to myself if I should be using my free time elsewhere. But I'll get into that later on. Let me first go over my relationship with Cyberpunk 2077, and how I've sort of come to it, over the sort of 4 years it's been released now. I was originally gifted the game back in 2020, got it from my wonderful wife, but at the time I was playing it on a old Xbox One. The original VCR big box looking thing, absolutely terrible, sounded like a plane taking off every time I tried playing a new game. I was playing it on a 1080p TV, 60 frames a second would be nice, but that didn't really even happen, especially with Cyberpunk. So as you can guess, back in 2020, when I originally got the game, I booted it up, very excited to play. I had seen a lot of negative reviews in the time, but I thought, here we go, let's give it a go. So at the time, I thought I sort of only played about 5 hours of the game. Wrong! I actually played about 22 hours of the game, which might also be the reason why I sort of felt disappointed returning to the game. I hadn't really felt that much had changed apart from the performance. So I'm a bit embarrassed that I managed to get 22 hours into the game back on the original Xbox One. So embarrassed that I actually lost my hair. I'm just kidding. I started going bald about 6 years ago. Yeah. Also, side note, if you're going bald, embrace it. There's nothing wrong with being bald. It's much better being bald. Being an egg, nice and shiny, nice and clean, rather than having that sort of thin hair on top that you sort of comb over to where your hairline used to be just because you're not ready to get rid of the hair just yet. Just embrace it. You look much better, trust me. But anyway, fast forward to 2023, the game's in the press, it's getting a good buzz, Phantom Liberty expansion was coming out, everyone was getting excited with the big overall update, so sort of in the back of my mind I thought, you know what, I need to return to this game, I need to try it out. I never gave it my full attention before because I knew of all the bad reviews. I thought that it must be completely overhauled, and now I've got an Xbox Series X on a 4K TV, must look lovely. Let's give it a go. Unfortunately, last year I never got round to it, so in the new year, I made it my New Year's gaming resolution to complete Cyberpunk 2077 and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Tried Sekiro, couldn't get past the second boss. I just suck, basically. So yeah, sorry. So anyway, in April I restarted the game, gave it a good whack, My son had started to go to sleep about 7:30 at night, which gave me about 2 hours in the evening to sort of relax. If I wanted to play a game or watch TV, spend time with the wife, who wants to do that? But I managed to chip away at it 2 hours a night for about 60 hours of gameplay. I finished the game about halfway through June, 2 and a bit months. That's how long it took me to get through the game. So when I restarted the game back in April, I kind of remembered the start of the game quite well. I tried to sort of speed run my way through to catch up to where I had left off, not realising that was sort of 22 hours into the game. So I sort of found myself getting quite frustrated, I've done this before, I've not got a lot of free time, and I'm spending my free time going through over something I've already played. It got me a bit frustrated. So I managed to get through the first 22 hours of the game, again, sort of up to where the Pan Am mission sort of all starts to kick off, and that's from what I remember before. In my opinion, the best part of Cyberpunk 2077 is that start of the game. Now, in all honesty, I genuinely think I might be the only person on the planet that thinks this. I'm not sure. I've not really delved into many reviews before. I just know the overall scores and opinions of people at the time. I listened to a lot of podcasts, etc, etc, etc. However, I got through that first part of the game, genuinely enjoying my time again. It got to sort of where I was before, still enjoyed that. Everything I played after that game, I just found quite mundane, quite slow, quite boring, and that could genuinely be me. And I think the game is great. I genuinely sort of think that CD Projekt Red done a great job adapting the world, creating all these gigs and missions for you to sort of keep busy with. But I don't know, man. It just fell flat, and I don't even know why. I'm disappointed that I'm disappointed. I sort of remember getting up to the part where you start your side missions with Pan Am, which unlocks an extra ending. So obviously got to those bits, did those bits. There's no spoilers, but there's quite a unique mission where you drive a unique vehicle. I really enjoyed my time there. And then soon after that, I sort of started doing the side missions for Johnny, for Rogue, for River, for Kerry, and Judy, and I just thought they were lackluster in comparison to the Pan Am missions. And throughout the main story as well, you're doing the some of the stuff with is it Takamura? I could be getting the name wrong. My Japanese isn't great. Sumimasen. And I enjoyed those main missions with Takamura. I thought they were quite good set pieces. I kept playing them. I wanted to see what was next. But I'm a bit of a completionist, and I wanted to see all the main side jobs through. And if you're wondering what I mean by main side jobs, I will show you. One sec. I use this. This is the original guide that came out with Cyberpunk in 2020. My wife got it for me with the game. Thanks very much, wife. But I followed this chart here. Now, I wanted to see every main mission, every main side job, which are in black. These are main side jobs. These are small side jobs. These are to do with your sort of main side characters such as Pan Am, Judy, Kerry, etc, etc. So I wanted to make sure I saw all of them, and I didn't miss anything, and I also did all 4 different endings. So here's where my problem arises. After the Pan Am missions, all the other main side jobs, they felt empty. They just sort of seemed to be a lot of talking and not a lot getting anywhere. Not a lot of action. To keep you sort of enticed, and you can disagree with me. This is absolutely fine. This is an opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. Your opinion of me that I'm just an egg, that's fine. Eggs, crack them, boil them, they're great. I love them. I love eggs, obviously. But also, I felt like the endings were all kind of similar. 3 of the 4 endings lead to the same place. They lead to the same choice that you have to make. I tried to make as many different choices as possible, but I just didn't sort of really like any of the endings, to be honest. And that's fair. I liked the Pan Am one. That was okay, but it sort of seemed to put a sort of sour note on the whole game. The spoilers here we go, spoilers for the next minute. You die, pretty much. If you do continue to live as V, you've got 6 months and you die, which, you know, we've not seen a sequel. We don't know that for sure, but that's sort of how it ends it. If you like Johnny to take over the body of V, then I'm guessing that he lives, but I don't know. We'll see what CD Projekt Red has to do in any of the future games. But that's the story sort of side of things that I didn't really love. Now, I did, again, love the gameplay, love the world. I'm massive into Cyberpunk, so that's great. I love the cars, even though there's only probably about 10 really unique options. I love the weapons, again, even though there's sort of 3 or 4 base models on each, you know, genre. But I did like it, you know. I just felt disappointed, and I was disappointed that I'm disappointed, if that makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about how the game respects your time, especially if you're someone like myself who has 2 hours free a night. How does this game, this 60-hour epic game, respect your time from day to day? And it kind of makes a point not to respect your time. Let me explain. So after every sort of main mission, the character you're dealing with at the time, they will sort of say, oh, I'll contact you in 24 hours to give you the update, or meet me at 7 p.m. at night, blah, 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 blah. Now, I understand why the game does this. It's to get you to go off and do other little side jobs, side gigs, the cyber psychos, you know, the races, things like that. But in modern day and age, I understand that. I just want to go straight into the next mission. If I'm doing a side mission with Judy and she says, I'll call you in a couple of days, get rid of that. I just want to go straight into the next one. Again, I understand why they do it. I just don't really like it. Now, I think there is a wait period that you can wait in game that will probably bring that up, which does make more sense, but I didn't try it. I just got frustrated, went on and did a few side gigs, because again, I'm a bit of a completionist. I wanted to see all those sort of things, but I was trying to rush through it as quick as possible. So I would sort of do one main mission a night and a few side jobs here and there. And that's probably on me. That's my fault. But again, that's how the game respects your time. In game design, it does make sense because it makes the world feel alive. You know, you've constantly got these other characters calling you, asking you to do separate jobs, trying to grab your attention to different parts of the city so you can see more of the map, you can experience more of the world. Again, I understand it, but again, disappointed. Now, I think the game genuinely does respect your time in some aspects as well, especially when it comes to the skill tree. I believe it lets you respec anytime you want with your attribute points and your perk points. Really, really great and freeing that the game lets you do this. You know, if you had invested into the strength perks and you got sort of up to the top of the skill tree and realised actually you're not using any of those skills, you can refund them, you can put them in somewhere else and use those skills that you might gel well with. I personally liked using the smart weapons, so I invested heavily into that. I tried a little bit with katanas and the arm blades. Not really for me. So if I wanted to, I could have respec'd that into a different skill tree. It's really great that game lets you do that. I don't know if that was implemented in with another update along the line. You know, this game's been out for 4 years. I don't know if they've ever changed that or if it was ever like that from the start. But I think that's really good. It's really good. I never used it at all. So, you know. The game also lets you save at any point, and it will automatically save as you're going through missions. So if you go into a mission, you didn't realise it was quite a heavy dialogue mission and you end up making the wrong choices that affect the game later on, you can actually just load up a save that it did before the start of the mission and do all that again, or, you know, make a separate save, see how the two end up. That's really good, really helpful for players. I like that. I constantly went back, chose different outcomes. I don't know how much difference it actually made, but the option was there and it's nice. Now, I also just wanted to mention the loot in this game. Now, it's not necessarily a looter shooter, something like Borderlands or Destiny, but you do end up with a lot of loot in this game. You know, especially if you're like me, you pick up everything you see, you don't want to miss anything, and you start to pick up a lot of weapons and things that you're never going to use. Now, I think that's a good thing and a bad thing, because on one side of it, you never really have to worry about upgrading weapons because you're constantly going to pick up new ones. You can try them out as much as you want. On the other side, I sort of found myself, every time I got into the game, I would have to go to one of them sort of selling points, like the drop box things, and just offload all the loot that I'd accumulated in the previous 3 or 4 missions. It only sort of took like 5-10 minutes, but every time I started the game, I went through my inventory, checked everything out, tried out a few weapons, realised I didn't like that as much as the stuff I already had. I sort of only really stuck with about 4 or 5 weapons throughout the entire game, and didn't realise literally until the last mission that I could upgrade previous weapons that I'd picked up, so I went back to those ones that I'd put in my stash and upgraded them. On the topic of the stash, I think it's really helpful that the game lets you put as much loot in the stash as you want, and you can access it pretty much any time as long as you call one of your vehicles, go to the boot of the car, and you can access your stash straight there. So now, how child friendly is this game? If you've got sort of older kids and you're trying to play the game while also supervising the kids, if you've got really tiny little babies and they're asleep all the time, it doesn't really matter. But if the kids are a bit older and they're playing, you're sort of trying to keep an eye on them while you're playing the game at the same time. Should you really do that with Cyberpunk 2077? Probably not. The game is not child friendly at all. There's a lot of swearing, there's a lot of nudity, a lot of action, a lot of blood and gore, a lot of violence. It's really just not child friendly. Now, that might seem quite obvious to a lot of people, but I think people should be made aware before they're trying to play this game while also supervising kids. Again, I don't think a lot of people are, but I just want to inform them. But I think genuinely this is a sort of game that you need to play in your free time once the kids have gone to bed. You can't really play it at the weekends while the kids are about, unless the kids are off. So it just sort of leaves you to that 2 hours a night, as I was saying, where you have your adult free time to do whatever you choose. Now, if you're a sort of night owl and you stay up midnight, 1, 2 a.m, you could probably get quite a bit of game time in. I am ready to go to sleep about 10 o'clock, and then I get up nice and early at 6. So 2 hours a night for me, which again could have had a negative effect on my overall opinion of the game, but that's just me. So what is it like to play Cyberpunk 2077 as a father? For me, in my experience, not the best. Like I said, the 2 hours a night was quite restrictive. I didn't really have much free time to go and explore the world. However, I did still do a lot of the side content, such as the gigs for fixers, the cyber psychos. I actually did all of them. Side note, they were quite fun to start off with. Then they progressively got easier and easier once I started to upgrade a few weapons and I could just go in, guns blazing, shoot them, run out again. Another thing. Another opinion, I suppose. Obviously, I didn't play the game every single night, so when I did get back in after a few days of not playing it, it would take me a while to sort of just refresh myself with the game mechanics, the inventory, the gigs and the side missions that I was up to date with, which probably would have added another 10-20 minutes onto my gameplay just to refresh where I was going, where I was at in the book, and again, probably negatively affected my opinion on the game. I do think that the game is probably amazing for someone who has a lot of free time on their hands, which isn't me. I wish I did, but I don't. But that's okay. And I think if you've got that time, you want to immerse yourself in their world, you're probably going to love this game. If I had this game when I was sort of 16, 17 years old, it would be one of my favourite games of all time, like The Witcher 3 was when I sort of played that at around 21, 22 years old. I really loved that game, but I was living at home, weren't paying bills, didn't have any friends, never have, yay. But that was a great game, and this is also a great game, but as someone who was trying to rush through it, I started to see more of the cracks and sort of more of a repetitiveness. And the more gamey side of things, you know. And if I was playing this game in 2020 when we were still in lockdown, I genuinely think that the game could have been one of my favourite games of that year, if not of the generation. But here we are in 2024 and a lot's changed and I'm just getting too old for this. I have a few other nitpicks with the game, but I don't want to go into them too much. I think they wasted the character of Evelyn. She was in it for about 5 minutes, it felt like. Again, rushing through the game, didn't really see a lot of her. I don't know who Saul is. He seems to have come out of nowhere. I didn't know much of the backstory on him, but he seemed like this massively important character that I never even had a conversation with. Again, don't want to get into it, just a little nitpick. And also, I think a lot of people have said this, but Johnny seems to have a bit of an empty personality, especially sort of when you unlock the side missions with him. He's saying a lot, but not a lot of emotions coming through. Again, just a little nitpick. I don't want to bash the game too much. It genuinely is a great game. People already know that. This is just a unique take on it. So yeah, this is just my video. I hope I didn't upset too many Cyberpunk fans. I'm just trying to come at it a different angle, you know, rather than just, oh, I played this game and it's great. These are sort of the actual thoughts and opinions that I had with the game after my time with it. And this is why I'm making the video, because I just want to talk and express them to someone that might actually understand what I'm talking about, and not just the wife. She just nods and smiles. So yeah, I'm joking. The wife's great. I love her. So to sum it up, really great game, great mechanics, great shooting, great gameplay. The story fell flat for me. It was trying to fill up my time when I didn't have a lot of it. You know, none of us have a lot of free time nowadays. Every single thing is trying to bite your attention, from TikTok to YouTube to X. I don't even know what that is. I've not touched it in years. TV shows, movies, other games. Everything's just trying to grab your attention all the time. It's the world we live in at the moment. You know, our world will eventually turn into a cyberpunk dystopia where everything is just trying to grab your attention, and there's billboards floating up to the sky just to try and get you to buy one product. But there you go, that's cyberpunk, isn't it? And that's what the world we live in, and that will be probably where we will end up in, I can't do the maths, but by 2077. Who knows? But yeah, that's my video. Follow me if you want. On to Elden Ring, I guess.